You think this engine is big? How about this one?
Or this one?
Today we're looking at the world's largest engines, from 3 cylinders all the way up to 48s. I'm James. Welcome to Donut.
You know, we all get x-rays to scan our bodies for life-threatening problems, so why not scan your computer for personal data-threatening problems with help from today's sponsor, Guardio. Guardio is an easy-to-use security extension that's all about keeping you browsing quickly and safely. It scans, cleans, and protects your private information online. It's jam-packed with the most advanced security features like personal data protection, phishing alerts, and real-time threat removals that actually alert you before anything happens, unlike traditional solutions that only help once you've been harmed. All you have to do is add Guardio's browser extension from the Chrome or Edge store, and when it's installed, a safety scan will start detecting any existing threats found on your computer. Best part, Guardio can also scan your phone to detect any existing leaks, making your mobile data safe and secure. Forget RAT and email scams or those annoying push notifications. Guardio warns and blocks anything coming after your online safety. Check out guard.io/donutmedia today and get 20% off and a free browser safety check. It only takes 2 seconds to install. So start your 7-day trial with premium features by just clicking the link below.
To kick off this list, we're gonna start with the largest production motorcycle engine ever built, from the Triumph Rocket 3. This boss hog is classified as a power cruiser. It costs 22 grand and comes with an inline 3-cylinder pumping out 164 horsepower. All that big old hog pork means it'll hit 60 miles per hour in 2.89 seconds, all thanks to its huge displacement of 2.5 liters. All right, so maybe 3 cylinders ain't enough cylinders for you. Maybe you're a real cylinder queen. You need more cylinders, as many cylinders as your fat roll face can get. How about 4? The largest displacement for an inline 4-cylinder production car engine belongs to the Pontiac Trophy 4 engine, developed for the Tempest in the 1960s. It's basically just the right half of the V8 from the GTO. This naturally aspirated power plant makes an absolutely blistering, mind-blowing 110 horsepower. It comes in at a whopping 3.2 liters. They're gonna get bigger, I promise, guys. I understand that the beginning of the list is a little overwhelming, but we're gonna get into some pretty big engines, so stick around. Don't believe me? Here's our next one. This one came in the 1907 Grand Prix race car driven by Walter Christie. It's not only the largest V4 ever, but the largest engine ever put in a Grand Prix car. How big is it? 20 liters. Do you know how many bottles of Faygo that is? I don't either. And in case you're wondering how it did in the race, it lasted 4 laps before exploding. Somehow that's not even the largest 4-cylinder engine on this list. That honor goes to the legendary land speed car known as the Beast of Turin. The Beast was made by Fiat in 1910 to break the land speed record previously held by the Blitz and Benz. The engine was called the S76. It makes 290 horsepower at 1400 RPM, and it sounds like this. How big is this Mr. Beast of Turin? A whopping 28 liters. Now let's move on to one of my favorite engine configurations, the inline 5. Surprisingly, a lot of car companies have used inline 5-cylinder engines. Companies such as Acura, Audi, Ford, Mercedes. But the largest one we could find was the Lancia Typo 102, a diesel engine that powered Italian military trucks during World War II. It made less than 100 horsepower, which is pretty bad considering it had a displacement of 6.9 liters. I know what you're saying, nice. And I know what you're also saying, James, 6.9 liters is way less than 28 liters. And I agree with you. Okay, let's bump up the pistons. What's more than 5?
6.
The biggest V6 engine in a production vehicle was made by Chevy for use in 1960s pickup trucks. This bad boy made 254 horsepower and was simply called the 478 because it was 477.7 cubic inches, which works out to 7.8 liters. But you know what's cooler than a V6? A straight 6. The largest inline 6 engine is the Detroit Diesel
DD16.
This double D truck engine makes 600 horsepower and over 2,000 pounds of torque. You could tow down a house. And it definitely helps that the engine is 15.6 liters. And after 6 comes 7.
Wait a sec, James. 7 cylinders? Are you off your rocker, brah?
Well, clearly, you've never heard of the AGCO98HD. Apparently, this is one of the only inline 7 engines currently in production. It's a twin turbo diesel engine used for agricultural purposes, AKA tractors. This bad boy makes 1,300 pound-feet of torque thanks to its displacement of 9.8 liters. I should have spaced those better. No turning back! That brings us to 8 cylinders, the Big Ocho. How big do you think the biggest production V8 ever built was? 3 liters, 5 liters, 1,000 liters? Try again, hot shot. The biggest production V8 ever was made by a company that I like to call Cadillac. It was a 400 horsepower, big old chonky boy, introduced in the year of 1970. They called it the 500 because that's how many cubic inches it has. And if you don't speak inches, that translates to 8.2 liters. But if we're talking crate engines, as in motors you can buy directly from manufacturers, the largest one ever is the brand new Chevy ZZ632. For the low price of almost $40,000, you can buy yourself this 1,000 horsepower naturally aspirated V8 that has a displacement of 10.3 liters. That didn't sit right with Bugatti. Chevy versus Bugatti, one of the fiercest rivalries in motorsports. So what did Bugatti do about it? Well, they traveled back to the 1920s and dropped this. The Bugatti Royale, powered by a 300 horsepower straight 8. Imagine how long that boy is. If you want one of these, you'll need to drop about 10 million bucks. I have 2 of them. I'm looking to get rid of one. I'll give it to you for 9 million. And you'll feel better knowing that you have a bigger engine than Eddie's Chevy with a displacement of 12.7 liters. But there's another 8-cylinder engine that's bigger than any of these other wimpy ones. A literal tank engine, the Ford GAA, or the Ford GAA. This engine was found in the Sherman M4A3, one of the most important American tanks ever. And if you're wondering, a tank weighs about 71,000 pounds, so you need all the displacement you can get. And that's why the GAA is 18 liters. It's La Fago. Now it's worth mentioning that the only production car with a W8 engine was the 2001 Passat, and it made a massive 4 liters. At this point in the list, I was going to mention all the wonderful 9-cylinder engines that exist in maritime applications because honestly, it's one of my favorite things to talk about. But the model list said no. And if I don't do it, it says, it sprays me. With what? I haven't figured it out yet. But I can't keep getting this stuff on my clothes. It stinks. And it's sticky. And it makes dogs chase it. So let's jump into production V10s. The biggest production V10 ever comes from a dainty little car called the Dodge Viper. At the end of the Viper's life, it had made 645 naturally aspirated horsepower thanks to a legendary V10 with a displacement of 8.4 liters. Biggest V12 that ever went into production was the Chevy 702, aka the Twin 6, because 2 6s equals 12s, and 3 6s equals Mafia. Shouts to Juicy J. I know you're watching. This engine was found in some of the biggest GMC trucks of the 1960s, and the crankshaft alone weighs 180 pounds. This bad boy bruiser clocks in at 11.5 liters. Next up, we're taking this train to V16 town. 2003, Cadillac came out with a concept car called the 16. Guess what they called it that for? Because it had a V16 in it. The engine supposedly made 1,000 horsepower. It was essentially just 2 LS V8s fused together. How big is these 2 LSs combined?
The number you
13.6 liters. So now you're probably thinking, there aren't bigger engines than V16s. How's that even gonna fit in a car? Where am I gonna sit? Well, this next engine isn't even in a car at all. It's for a train, or as I like to call, a railroad van. The EMD 710 is a 2-stroke turbo diesel V20 engine. It's called the 710 because each cylinder is 710 cubic inches. So if you multiply that by 20, you wind up with a total displacement of 14,200 cubic inches, or 232.69 nice liters. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but that's the biggest one so far. I told you they were gonna get big. Our next engine comes from probably the 5th coolest vehicle on the planet. I'm talking about a seaplane. That's a plane that can float, or a boat that can fly, depending on your paradigm, man. Fiat AS.6 is the largest V24 engine in the world. It's basically two V12 Fiat engines fused together. 1934, this thing made 2,900 horsepower, making it the fastest seaplane in the world. And almost 90 years later, the record still stands. I assume because it's sort of a race that no one else is participating in anymore. Clocks in at a whopping 50 liters. Coming up next on the list is a 36-cylinder radial engine. Unlike any of these other engines on this list so far, a radial engine has the cylinders circled around a central crankcase like a big scary wheel. Engines like these were used in airplanes before jet turbines became the standard, okay? The largest one ever was the Lithium-Ion XR7755. All these cylinders make 5,000 horsepower and add up to 127 liters. And we're still not at the highest amount of cylinders. The most amount of cylinders ever put in a vehicle is 48. And no, it didn't come in a plane or a train or a tank. It actually came in a freaking motorcycle. This Kawasaki right here was custom built by an absolute psychopath in his garage who combined 16 3-cylinder engines together. All in all, this hog puts out a displacement of 4.2 liters. Before we talk about the absolute largest engine on this list, I want to give a shout out to an engine with no pistons at all. Of course, I'm talking about the rotary, the nacho taco pig sounding one. Most rotary engines have like 3 rotors at most, or if you're a true madman like Rob Dahm, you go for 4, but that's not even close to the 12-rotor engine built by a guy named Tyson Garvin. He claims it's capable of almost 5,000 horsepower, and it comes in at a whopping 15.7 liters, which is a lot. And that brings us to one final engine. No, it doesn't have the most cylinders on this list, but let me tell you, it's big. You've probably seen it in memes. The Wärtsilä RT Flex 96C is a low-speed, 2-stroke, 14-cylinder motor. It's 44 feet high, 87 feet long, and weighs 2,300 tons, or 8 Nolans. It's capable of producing an insane 107,390 horsepower and over 5.6 million pound-feet of twerks at a whopping, screaming 102 RPM. It's meant to power container ships and cruise ships and stuff, although I would love to see someone swap it into a Supra just to piss off the purists. How big is it, you ask? Try 1,828.7 liters. You think you're a real car nut because you made a coffee table out of an engine block? Well, I made a freaking tiny house. Thanks to Ridge Wallet for sponsoring today's video. Kiss that old, bulky wallet goodbye and say hello to the Ridge Wallet. It's light, industrial, has RFID technology to smack away digital thieves. Sure, it's slim, but it can hold up to 12 cards plus some cold hard cash. The Ridge team offers a 45-day money-back test to make sure that you love it, but with 50,000 5-star reviews, you probably will. And with every dollar that you spend on the Ridge Wallet's website before September 30th, you'll be entered to win this brand new upgraded Ford Bronco. Get 10% off today with free worldwide shipping and returns by going to ridge.com/donutmedia and using code donutmedia, or just click on the link below. Thanks for watching this video and everything else on Donut. To make sure you don't miss anything, hit that subscribe button, go to donutmedia.com, get yourself some cool shirts or a hat. This one's available there. Follow me on social media at James Pumphrey. Peace!